War crimes.
Ah, that's the way I like it. Welcome to GamePunx.
Welcome back.
This is our 25th episode.
Yeah.
Actually,
We can
which
now.
is pretty cool. That's like a milestone.
Yeah. What's legal at 25?
Everything. War
The
crimes.
depression sets in at 25.
Yeah, well, that's true. Man, this podcast has more episodes than my age.
Oh my god. We need like
There we
4
go.
more
I'm
episodes for me, but
I'm still a little baby.
BB punks.
But we have we've got an interesting episode for you today. New status quo. We should start introducing ourselves.
Oh yeah, we got to
podcast.
do that. We keep forgetting.
We've never done it consistently. So let's.
Have
start.
we even
I'm
ever
Ryan.
done it? Anyway.
No, I don't think so.
I'm Ben. I do streams and stuff, and this podcast.
I do tweets and stuff.
Oh yeah, I do the tweets too. Mostly shit posts.
I do only tweets. He does tweets and streams. But we are GamePunx. We like video games, and this is our video game podcast. We're 25 years young. Let's do it. 25 episodes young, I should say.
I was gonna say 25 years. Jesus Christ.
I'm not even.
It's the longest podcast schedule ever. We've been doing this since I was a wee baby, and you weren't even born yet.
I wasn't even born yet. I was but a fetus.
We had the ultrasound machine hooked up recording.
I would have technically been a fetus had that been the case.
Yep.
All right. Well, we've been playing some games.
We have.
I've been playing plenty of games. I also been watching some TV. Maybe I'll start there.
Oh yeah, TV exists. Have I watched anything?
I have watched 2 TVs lately. Well, I watched a bunch of TVs over quarantine. I'm not going to talk about those because I feel like that's a lot. I burned through a bunch of series, including my favorite anime, Eureka 7. I also watched all of Mission Hill, which is my second favorite animated series after Avatar. And I watched a bit of MTV's Downtown, which is a very underrated adult cartoon. But I have also started watching Hunter x Hunter with 2 of my friends and my partner. And I love Hunter x Hunter. It's like one of my favorite shonen series of all time. Maybe my favorite. So I'm having myself a good old time with that. I'm watching the dub. I've never watched the dub of Hunter x Hunter yet. So I'm having a good time with it. It's an excellent dub, actually. And if you have not watched Hunter x Hunter, it is about a boy named Gon and his friends who are Kurapika, Leorio, and Killua. And all of these fine young individuals go to take an examination to become certified as hunters, which in the world that they live in are essentially people with like a ridiculous amount of privileges and basically impunity from like a whole bunch of different crimes.
So like cops.
Yeah, I mean pretty much like cops, except I guess maybe cooler because they don't really police anything.
Yeah, fair enough.
They're basically just granted like a bunch of privileges that other people can't, but I guess the
license to kill.
They do technically have that. I guess the drawback is that you have to take this really, really deadly, treacherous examination for it, which you could easily be killed or like maimed.
That's a good trade-off.
And the whole series starts with kind of an arc of them taking the examination, and through that arc, they really seed in a lot of information about the world through just the different tasks they have to complete in order to acquire the hunter's license.
Yeah.
Which I really, really like. It's just like it's a great get-go for the series. So I think we just finished the 3rd story arc of the series, so we're gonna hop into the 4th soon. But yeah, I've been watching Hunter x Hunter 2011, and it's a great adaptation of the manga. The dub is quite good, so if you are somebody who has difficulty with subs or anything like that, I highly recommend you give the dub a try, because I'm actually really impressed with it. The cast is really quite good. Keith Silverstein in particular plays a character called Hizuka. He's like the series' not primary antagonist, but recurring rival and antagonist. And his performance is really good. It's super creepy and like really, sells the character. Like he totally embodies that character perfectly. So yeah, Hunter x Hunter 2011. Dub, very good. This just came out today as we're recording. It's the 30th of July. A new Transformers animated series dropped on Netflix, CGI animated, and it's a co-production, I believe, between Polygon Pictures and Rooster Teeth. But it's a fully 3D CG animated series. It's called Transformers War for Cybertron Siege. I guess Siege is the first season of the show. It's 6 episodes, and I watched 3 of them so far. I don't think I've ever spoken on the podcast about how big a Transformers fan I am.
I think it came up once.
I think it came up when we were talking about Hasbro buying Power Rangers.
Maybe, yeah. But it was lightly touched upon.
Yeah, I'm a fucking huge Transformers fan.
Rivaled only by Bionicles.
I think, like, Transformers, Power Rangers, and Bionicle are, like, the 3 pieces of formative media for me as a kid. And they're, like, all 3 of those things are the reasons I got into, like, collecting comics, because the first comic series that I ever read in full was the original 1980s Marvel run of Transformers. It's, like, really historically important run of comics because it's, like, one of the most successful toy comics ever written. But it's also just a really interesting, weird, cool 80s Marvel comic. And I got into the IDW Transformers comics after reading those when I got a little bit older. Those started in 2005 and they ended, like, last year in 2019. So they went for, like, a good long while, like 15 years of just excellent, consistent, serialized storytelling. They really dug deep into the universe of the Transformers in that comic series and kind of explored not just, like, the ideological conflict that divided the Autobots and the Decepticons. They go really in depth into how the Autobots and the Decepticons, they're not simply at odds because one good, one bad. There is, like, a really, really deep history of, like, the Autobots as, like, a colonialist regime bent on, like, colonizing other planets and, like, treating robots within the Cybertronian species in dealing with them in a caste system that divided people based on their utility of their alternate transformation.
Yeah.
So it's a really, really interesting, highly political take. It introduced, like, amongst other things, like, a really in-depth reading on Transformers' interpretation of gender, being that they're basically non-binary, and they only started, like, kind of identifying as male after they colonized places that had concepts like gender.
Okay, yeah.
So,
Weird.
like, there are Transformers who are transgender or, like, non-binary, but, like, consider themselves female or, you know, identify as male. So they went in depth on the stuff like that, on just, like, their society, their politics. The IDW comics were really big. When they ended, I was kind of, like, not disappointed, but sad, because I felt like it was a bit like the end of an era for the Transformers as a series really taking risks. And I feel like ever since the IDW comics ended, Transformers has been, not the toys have been consistently pretty great, actually, but, like, the ancillary Transformers media has been really disappointingly lackluster. I feel like, with the exception of the currently running, like, children's animated series they have called Cyberverse, which is like it's like an 11-minute per episode kind of format for the series.
Yeah.
The series has kind of not done it. Like, I don't really care too much for the current IDW comics, which are a brand new continuity separate from the old one that I guess is attempting to kind of reboot the series cold for people who are new, so that they can, you know, get into the series without relying on 15 years of, like, complicated continuity. I understand the reason to do that. Yeah. And they pretty much, like, have relaunched the comic, and it's a lot less complicated. It's a lot less less political, more so, but more like
more mainlined.
It's less complex.
Yeah, it's I was gonna say it's less. It's more surface level.
Yeah, more surface level, not as ideologically complicated. It's not as heady a book, which once again I see why it's accessible to people, and that's great. But I really appreciated the IDW comics and their just shared continuity. Really, really good stuff. So anyway, the new series that premiered is the second like adult-oriented Transformers show to be made. The first one came out a couple years ago, and I believe it was like a collaboration between Machinima and a couple of Japanese studios, but it was called Transformers Combiner Wars, and it wasn't very good. It was kind of like cheap, better than average, but still, like, when you think Machinima, pretty Machinima-y looking stuff.
Yeah.
Stilted. The dialogue and writing was just like fucking awful,
Flaccid,
and it was frankly, it was unbearably bad. Like, I couldn't watch it, and there was a lot of it to watch, so I just opted to not. Once I watched a couple episodes, I couldn't get into it. It struck me as very edgy, try hard kind of stuff, very boring, so I didn't care for it. And I kind of had written off this new series as like a potential like fallback into those bad habits, and in some ways it is, but for the most part I found myself like getting a pretty good level of enjoyment out of it, because the novelty of an adult-oriented Transformers series is not lost on me as an adult fan of the series. I see the appeal. I like the IDW comics. I think that there's something that can be done here, but I want the adult series to be like, I don't know, is it too much to ask for an adult-oriented Transformers series to be as good as the series they make for children? Because Transformers Prime, Transformers Animated, the Beast Wars series, both of them, like, those are all fairly interesting and intelligent shows,
Yeah.
They're also aimed at children, but they're smart, and they're clever and fun and weird and cool in all these sorts of different ways.
I feel like there has to be some kind of clashing at corporate for that, though, because like
I definitely think there's like people pulling this series in two different directions.
Yeah, because it's like, yes, they want it to be more adult oriented and stuff, but they're also like, but it's still Transformers, so it still has to be mostly kid oriented. So we're gonna take this part out, drop that, like, don't let that, like, like, which is super unfortunate.
I feel like the storytelling isn't as ambitious as it
Too many cooks.
Yeah, too many cooks is definitely an issue with a lot of Transformers stuff, quite frankly. But yeah. So anyway, Combiner Wars was bad. It was a shitty attempt at an adult Transformers series. Made me want to kind of write this one off. But no, I sat down, I watched the first 3 episodes, and I have to say I'm probably going to finish the series, and we'll see where it goes from there. But as it stands, War for Cybertron's pretty good. It reminds me a little bit in tone of the War for Cybertron games that came out a couple years ago, the Ignition games. Yeah, those were really good, kind of like third-party.
Didn't Platinum make one of those?
Shooters. Platinum made Transformers Devastation.
Oh yeah, no,
which,
it was Devastation.
In my opinion, that's the best Transformers game. It's like a character action game that's set within the universe
it's a Platinum
of the
game.
G1 series. It's really good. It's a great game. It's
I remember
like
playing.
Best
I remember
it's
playing
Platinum's
the demo.
best licensed game by far.
Yeah, because Ninja Turtles did not do good.
Sucked, and Ninja Turtles.
Korra was okay. Korra was okay.
I thought
it fell a
Korra
little
was
flat.
fucking bland as hell.
Yeah, it fell a little flat in comparison to other.
In the realm of like inconsequential Avatar media, that is like the
100%.
It
for sure. I'm not saying it's a good game by any means, but I don't think it's that bad. There's something there. Whereas the Ninja Turtles game was a terrible shit show of a mess.
I'm sure that you particularly felt that was embarrassing.
Oh god,
as a big Ninja Turtles fan.
Yeah, it was rough. It was rough, especially since it was Platinum and Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, 2 of your
like
things.
how could it go wrong? And then it did. I think
it went so wrong.
I think Matt McMuscles did a what happened on it, or at least just a playthrough, and kind of delved into the development history while he was like showing you how shit the levels were.
Oh god.
Yeah, that game.
That reeks of a game that wasn't like bug tested. It wasn't like
it was rushed.
It's rushed shovelware.
It was rushed. They needed to make money. License holders were like, "Hey, get this game out. Movie's coming out. Get it."
It's a pity because it honestly could have been something. with Platinum making a Ninja Turtles game, that sounds great.
Yeah.
But no,
Anyway.
their Transformers game is very good. I would recommend that anybody who can play it.
I haven't played the whole thing. I remember playing a couple of levels. I can't remember if it was like a demo disc.
Maybe.
I do remember playing it and being like, "Holy shit!" But yeah, I think it might have been a little late
really
for demo
fun.
discs. I don't remember.
The fast rapid switching between like alternate mode.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
robot
no,
mode
it
and
was.
that
It's
feels so responsive and clean
immediate,
nice
and like
so
there's
good.
there's no weird like clunkiness to it, which you think there would be
No,
at
not
least
at
a
all.
little
It's
bit.
like it's the least fucking clunky
Yeah.
game ever. It's so tight. It's great. It's like
It feels
honestly
like,
plays like Bayonetta.
Yeah, I was
It's
just about to
smooth
say
like
it feels
Bayonetta.
like dodging with Bayonetta.
Yeah, it's what a great fucking game. So Devastation's good, but Ignition Entertainment made some 3D like Transformers third-person shooters a couple years ago. They're kind of like
I remember seeing
they're
some
almost
of that.
they're almost Gears of War type
Mhm.
games. Like that kind of third person with some cover-based shooting, but with the alternate kind of vehicular combat of something maybe like Battlefield
Mm-hmm.
mixed into it, or like Halo even. So it's pretty good. I got a lot of enjoyment out of those. But what I liked the most about those games was like the great amount of investment in the narrative, and I feel like that tonally is kind of where the new show is. It's very, it's self-aware that it's the Transformers, and so it's playing with the continuity and playing with these familiar characters and not straying too far from their established character. But at the same time, there's like a bit of like, I guess just a bit of liberty being taken with some of their personalities, just to kind of insert a little bit more conflict into the series.
Yeah.
So 3 episodes in, I'm enjoying it. The voice acting, I think a lot of the voice actors are like, they're either kind of like jobbers, like real VA jobbers, like people that you'll hear in a lot of different anime dubs, with like the guys that are basically the current voices of Megatron and Optimus.
Oh,
So
okay,
the guys
yeah.
who voiced them in like all the other cartoons. It's not Frank Welker or Peter Cullen anymore. I think it's because they don't want to pay those guys because they're union.
Oh
talent,
yeah,
and,
so there's
these guys are definitely non-union, like most of the voice acting
Mhm.
industry outside of LA. So, like, if anybody doesn't know anything about that, pretty much all like dub voice actors are non-union.
yeah.
Which is why they're in a lot of stuff now, like stuff that's not just anime, because they're cheaper than voice actors who are part of the unions that are out in LA.
Yeah.
So if anything is ever recorded outside of LA, like say in Vancouver or in Texas
Or Japan.
where you hear a lot of those dubs. Yeah, well, there we go. Or Japan. Those guys aren't working union, which is why they hire more cheaply. But yeah, it's a lot of non-union type guys. There's a couple of Rooster Teeth voice actors I recognize from like Ruby and Genlock.
Yeah,
I know Miles Luna's in there somewhere. I heard his fucking voice.
That makes sense.
But I really got I guess like it's a step above Combiner Wars. I mean, anything would be, but like, I mean, that sounds like I'm damning it with faint praise, but it is better than Combiner Wars. It's a pretty admirable attempt for an adult Transformers series. And that's all the TV that I've been watching. I guess I'll just pump out the game that I've been playing.
Yeah.
Might as well just cut right to the chase. So I talked a lot about Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition the last couple of episodes. Well, I beat that, and I said I'm going to go back and play Xenoblade Chronicles 2, and lo and behold, that is exactly what I have done.
Oh Lord, he doing it.
In 2
I'm gonna let you go
weeks.
off for just a second. I gotta go pee real bad.
Okay.
So
Sounds
Yeah.
good.
I'll be right back.
Yeah, all good. In like 2 weeks, I've clocked in like close to like 120 or more hours into this game. It's a very long RPG. I believe I spoke about it earlier on the podcast, like when we started a couple years ago when the game came out in like 2017. And I spoke of it fondly, but I also said that I wasn't terribly certain how into it I was going to be and how much I liked it compared to the original. Well, now, coming off of playing that really great Definitive Edition remake of the first game in the series, my feelings on 2 have like changed pretty significantly in that I really enjoy it, and I consider it as just basically as like a separate kind of thing from Xenoblade Chronicles 1. it's like a great game in its own right. As a companion to one, like in terms of the gameplay, I think it is a little inferior, but I like a lot of the systems they added in at the same time. So I'm a little conflicted as to how I feel about how it plays. But where the narrative and the characters and all of that good stuff is, oh, you're
Yes.
back. Where like the narrative and characters are concerned, I consider this to be fulfilling in the way that Xenoblade Chronicles 1 was for me. But gameplay wise, it's almost a completely different game. It feels unfair to compare them. I'll say that I prefer the gameplay of the original Xenoblade Chronicles, just because I think I prefer the UI of that game. I prefer how the characters.
Quick question: the
fight.
first one is the one that plays more like an MMO, right? With cooldowns.
Yeah, both of them have a similar combat system where it's very much like it's an MMO with warm-ups and cooldowns. You have a set of attacks with different abilities that kind of buff and debuff and stagger enemies and inflict status ailments and like do additional kinds of damage on top of what they regularly do.
Yeah.
And then you kind of just kind of enhance that stuff by like building a party that works together to kind of effectively dispatch of enemies using sequences of attacks that work together in collaboration. So it's a pretty unique battle system. I really like it. 2, on the other hand, is completely separate. So in 2, one of the major like things about the story is that there's these things called blades. Blades are beings. They're sentient beings like humans, although humans in this are like almost like separated into different subspecies that kind of feel like other like RPG trope races almost.
Yeah.
But they're all considered human. They all call them like, this is mankind, this is humanity. So they are all human. They're just like further evolutions of human based on the environments these humans lived in.
Okay, yeah.
But yeah, the world is separated into 3 races of creatures. There's Titans, who are these massive organisms that are basically the continents of this world. They all move circularly in a cycle around the world tree, which sits at the center of the world.
Yeah.
And the world has no water. It doesn't have a watery ocean. It instead has this dense atmosphere of particles that looks like clouds that is spread out all around like the ocean. They call it the Cloud Sea. The Cloud Sea is like, it's not the sky. You can physically swim in it because it is a tangible thing. It just looks like clouds because it's like heavy particulate matter.
Huh.
And the Titans wander around the Cloud Sea, and at the center of the Cloud Sea is this thing called the World Tree, which, as you can imagine, is a big tree that stretches out into the sky and like up into the exosphere.
The Tree of Life.
And yeah, big old fucking tree. You know exactly what it is. It's like Yggdrasil in Norse mythology.
Yeah.
But these Titans are these massive creatures, and some of them are really, really big, so big that they're effectively continents, and some of them are smaller and are like little islands.
Mm-hmm.
And they're all spread out around the Cloud Sea, and on these Titans there are humans who are separated into, like I said, a bunch of different kind of sub-races. They all come from these different Titans, so they call them based on whatever Titan they're from, like the Titan of Gormott, they call them the Gormati, and the Gormati have like feline features. They're pretty much cat people. But then there's like the Urians, who live on the Urian Titan, which is like a big thing where it's kind of like it's very undergroundy. So they've got like dark, kind of rugged looking skin that's almost scaly.
Yeah.
They look like they're kind of a lot of them are heavy set, and they have Australian accents, so they're like dwarves, I guess, is kind of the thing they're going for. Like they're the undergroundy kind of people. But then there's also just Leftherians and Ardanians who would look basically human, and there's like nothing distinguishing either of the two. More so they're distinguished by their culture. But yeah, each Titan has like a very particular culture. Like I said, some of them are inhabited by sub-races, but the gameplay revolves around the creatures that are called blades. Blades can look like fucking anything. They can look like animals, they can look humanoid, they can look like monstrous. One of them straight up looks like a xenomorph. But there are basically these things that the Titans can generate. Like they're birthed from the Titans.
Yeah.
And eventually, when they die, they become like, or when they live long enough, they will eventually become Titans. They don't die. They're immortal, but they every time they basically are like killed, quote unquote, they're not really killed. They disappear into their core crystal, which is the thing that they stem from, and they wait until another human comes and resonates with the core crystal, unlocking the blade and bringing it out. And to that point, the blades will have lost all their memories of their previous existence and are born anew.
Huh.
So blades are the primary weapon in the game. They're basically all attached to like a physical hand-to-hand combat weapon or a gun.
Yeah.
And each member of your party can have like multiple blades at once. Each one has like a different, like I said, a different weapon and a different elemental attribute. And the combat is focused around basically you strategically switching in and switching out blades, and now each blade has 3 moves that you can use in battle, and 1 additional move that you can swap out from another. So you have like 3 move slots and 4 moves for each blade, and then you have 3 blades at once, effectively giving you like 9 like different attacks to use.
Mm-hmm.
And you swap between blades with one side of the controller, and you attack with the other. And you're always auto-attacking, like in an MMO, kind of like in the original Xenoblade as well. Your character is constantly auto-attacking if they're in range of the enemy. And what you do is you press a button
for
when
skills.
the ability has, or the skill, they call them arts.
Okay.
When the art has warmed up and you use it. And they're like, if all of your arts warm up to a certain point, you can like cast like a super art, and then there's like a second and third level of those super arts.
Nice. How related? I think I asked this last time, but I always forget. How related are these to the Xenogears series? Like, is it same world,
it's
or
really just the same team?
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
There's, however, the themes of Xenogears and the themes of the other Xeno games, like Xenosaga, feel very in line with the themes of.
So it's kind of like a Tales of.
Yes. That's a good way of looking at it. The interesting thing, though, and this is where I'll kind of get into some light story spoilers.
Yeah.
The 2 Xenoblade games I've played, there are 3 of them. I've not played Xenoblade Chronicles X, which is like the open world MMO that they made for the Wii U. I haven't played it for obvious reasons because I never had a Wii U. No, I don't think anybody who has. But Xenoblade 1 and Xenoblade 2 feel aesthetically and gameplay wise like very, very different games. Even tonally, in terms of their narrative, they feel really different, in that Xenoblade 1 feels a lot less like anime than this one does, and this one's got a bit of like a almost Pokemon-ish quality to it, like a collectible.
Is this the one where the accents
because of all the
keep changing a bit?
Well, I mean, that was a problem with the first Xenoblade 2.
But this is the one that came out on the Switch, right?
All of the characters in this game, all of the characters in the, this is the one on the Switch. Okay. All of the characters in this game have accents. All the different Titans like have a different race of people living on them, and all these people have different regional accents. They're all some variation of like a British English accent for the most part, with the exception of some of the Blades who sound like American. But which I guess is interesting, because it's like they don't really live the same way the humans do, so they don't have the time to develop kind of these regionalized accents the way they do. But the main character, Rex, he's got kind of a bit of a Northern English accent, but it also tips a little bit into Welsh and Scottish at times. So he's a bit of and then sometimes he'll give a line read and he sounds like he's Cockney. So there's a bit of accent hopping going on. He's a bit of an accent tourist. But the other characters are fairly consistent. It's really just Rex. But the other characters in the game are like, there's one who has like that's a Welsh accent very clearly. Oh, that's an Irish accent, I can tell. And it's because a lot of the voice performers are from the British Isles, so there are Irish, Welsh, Scottish, and British voice actors kind of giving their takes on these characters. These are who are in the cast, so you get a lot of that interesting stuff. But like even the names of certain characters are very like the characters from More Ardain, like they're part of this empire called the Empire of Morardane, everybody there has an Irish name and an Irish accent.
Okay.
Like,
Yeah.
there's a captain of their military, and his name is Captain Patrick. And the character that you get from Morardane, who becomes a party member, her name is Morag. Like, that's a very old Irish name, with like a funny little Gaelic accent in there. So like, they go pretty deep into like the like even naming these characters names that are fairly appropriate to the culture. But yeah, the game, like I said, it's based entirely around these blades, and it has this gacha-ish quality to it because you collect these core crystals throughout the game, and they're divided into like 3 separate categories. Now, you don't really have to pay for them, so it's not really like a gacha game. But you basically open these core crystals, and they give you new blades, and they'll give you sometimes a generic blade that has like 1 set body type, 1 set elemental type, and 1 set weapon type, and they'll mix and match between like those things. And they'll give them like a randomly generated name. But then there's a bunch of legendary blades that you can get. Those are all the blades that I use in the game are legendary blades. And these are the blades that come with like really, really complex ability pools that you can level up, that give you a whole bunch of abilities out on the field too, not just in battle. And a lot of the side questing and stuff in the game is based around developing these like ability pools and exploring the environments, which are very, very beautiful and big and diverse.
Does the game give you enough like XP and stuff to fill out every single ability pool? Or is it one of those tree things where like you're gonna have to optimize for exactly your playstyle?
So here's the thing. You can change the difficulty of the game, and that changes how easy it is to do things. You can they even give you a custom difficulty option where you can like toggle certain things that you want.
It's kind of a Bravely Default-ish.
It is exactly like Bravely Default. It's if you know exactly what I'm talking about. Then if you've played that, but they let you do that. You can customize how weak or how strong enemies you encounter are. So that if you're just trying to get through an area and you don't want to do a few random battles, turn them off for a while. Or like there's no random battles, but if you don't want to do battles, you can just like make it so that enemies like just look past you.
Like, we're not gonna fuck with that guy.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to fucking.
He seems too strong. That's main character energy over there.
Most of the enemies in the game are animals anyway, so like it makes sense that some of them. And in the game, some of them are like vicious, and some of them are not. Yeah, like some of them are just idle and want to be left alone, and some of them just mind their own business.
Big Monster Hunter.
And some of them straight up attack you because they suck. Yes, actually, the game that I would most compare Xenoblade Chronicles to overall with, in terms of its like how the field roaming feels and how like the battles feel, Monster Hunter.
Really, that makes that way more interesting now.
Because like Monster
Hunter,
it's like
PSO2,
kind of thing.
Right? Like it's a hunting game essentially.
Cooldowns, warm-ups, a lot of like huge fucking enemies, with complex patterns of behavior and stuff. They sleep, they eat, they get distracted by things in the distance and maybe will run away if they see that, even though it looks like they're about to square up with you. Yeah. Like it feels pretty organic, which helps to make these worlds feel even better. But the worlds themselves are, like I said, there's a big focus in the game on exploring and, exploring in order to kind of help level up your ability trees. Mm-hmm. So you have like the abilities are kind of like these 3 concentric half circles, and each node on these circles has like a different thing, and as you go up the tree. Or the circles, but leveling up in the game is depending on the difficulty. It's either super easy or it's fair. The thing about these worlds that are like these different titans is they all have like these very, very differing, like radically different environments. In fact, that with like these very specific and unique aesthetics to them, and that's something that Xenoblade 1 has as well. So it seems like it's something Monolith Soft does really well. But where Xenoblade 1, it's like very cool, weird environmental interpretations of like snow area, forest area, field area, jungle, beach, In this game, it's like underground caves with bioluminescent plants everywhere that are like pink and purple and these radical like colors. So this whole area is like cobalt blue with pink foliage, and like huge ravines full of like pools of water and stuff like that.
That's my
and
aesthetic.
that's just like one Titan looks like that, and then the other Titan, like Gormott, looks like this big mountainous valley with like a big craggy kind of large trees and like a huge ravine running through it with huge waterfalls, and it's like it's the very like a vertical environment as opposed to that other one, which is very like spread out and flat and wide. And then there's More Ardain, which is like it's the Titan they're living on is in the process of dying.
Oh boy!
So it's very arid and dusty, and there's like it's very heavily industrialized. So there's a lot of like piping and old ruined factories and this big like geothermal energy plant and stuff like that, where they're siphoning ether from the Titan. And the city is like built into the shoulder of the Titan, so it's got this big overhang kind of quality to it too. And then there's like this other one, Indal, which is like pristine and white, and it's like this big, it's like the religious center of this world, so it's all holy, and it's got like this big holy city, but then in the bottom of the holy city is like a refugee camp for people who are coming from Titans that have died off. And then there's the Letherian archipelago, which is a bunch of smaller island-sized Titans that are all connected to each other by like a network of like their arms connecting and like deconnecting, which is really cool. So it's these really strange,
like
different,
the world
unique
seems fucking cool.
It's really, really cool. And the way that this game ties into the first game, like I said, a little spoilery, so skip ahead a couple minutes, I guess, if you want to avoid spoiler talk for that. The end game basically like pulls like actually this is way more of a sequel to the first game than you even thought it was trick.
Sick. I love it when they do that.
Essentially
recurring characters?
It reveals that like not just recurring characters, basically the primary antagonist of Xenoblade Chronicles 1 is named Zanza. Zanza was originally it gets a little Kingdom Heartsy, but I like that.
Yeah.
Zanza was originally a scientist named Klaus, who was from Earth, our Earth.
That is Kingdom Heartsy.
Yeah, he was originally from a scientist named Klaus from our Earth, who was basically like working in this government kind of facility floating up in space. It was like a space colony, and it looked like it's kind of a giant like particle collider.
Okay.
And Klaus, because he was disillusioned with humanity and disillusioned with like the war that was basically tearing the planet Earth apart and like human society apart, decides to restart the universe. And so he basically uses the collider to destroy and recreate the universe, and in the process him and his coworker Galea, who gets like sucked in to the blast at the same time as him, emerged on the other side of that explosion in this new universe as the Titans from the first Xenoblade. So Zanza and Maineth, or Bionis and Mechonis from the first game. The second game takes place so it turns out the world is the ruined planet Earth, and the Cloud Sea is the remnant of like the particulate matter that recreated the universe and the new particles that basically became the Cloud Sea. Beneath the Cloud Sea is like a human city and like the ruins of like Earth and old Earth culture. And the blades and humans and stuff were actually created by the shell of Klaus's body that remained in this universe when half of him became Zanza in the other universe. So the god of the god, or the architect they call him, who they all revere as like their creator and worship him like the Christian god basically, is in reality a human who separated into two halves, and the only reason the human half of him as the architect is hanging on in the new world is because Zanza is living. But
I'm half expecting you to say Yensid shows up and says Sora.
And then basically. Maybe I'm overcomplicating it the way that I describe it.
No.
It's just I'm not very eloquent.
No. It makes total sense. It's just it is very.
It's very Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. So the big reveal at the end of this game is you climb up to the top. The whole goal of the game is you're trying to get your blade, Pyra, who is a special blade called the Aegis, to the top of the world tree so you can find Elysium, which will basically be like a homeland for all the humans and Blades to live in together, where like they don't have to worry about the Titans dying off and them having no land, and so they don't have to fight over new territory and stuff like that. When you reach the top of the world tree, it turns out the top of the world tree is actually the remnant of the space colony that Klaus was on. And you go into Elysium, and the thing that you've been thinking is Elysium the whole time was just the human habitat that people were living in the space colony. So it's like an artificial Earth inside the space colony. You go through it, it's totally fucking wrecked.
Yeah.
You go in and you find Klaus. Klaus is the architect. He's sitting there, and half of his body is a singularity, like a universal singularity that's pulsing with like dark matter energy. And you go, you meet him, you talk to him, you achieve your goals or whatever. But then afterwards, as you leave, he dies because the human half of him was only hanging on because the god half of him was in this other universe where Xenoblade 1 took place.
Fair enough.
And basically, this game takes place during the same time as the first game, because at the end of this game, Klaus dies because Zanza is killed. Zanza is killed by Shulk at the end of the first game. So these are two things happening in these two universes that were once one whole universe. Yeah. Anyway, Galaxy Brain.
David Lynch. What are you doing?
So, this is some shit. But, yeah, Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is a really enjoyable game. It's very different. It's got a lot of different qualities to it, but I think from the first game, I think I appreciate it for what it is versus what it isn't now. And I'm getting a lot out of it, so hopefully I'll finish the game. I'm literally at the final boss. But it's been a really fulfilling experience. I've enjoyed just kind of gacha-ing my way through the special blades and finding all these unique characters. They're all designed by different artists. Tetsuya Nomura designed a few of them. He also designed all the antagonists.
Fair enough.
And there's there's one that was designed by like Reki Kawahara from Sword Art Online, or not but no, it is the guy from Sword Art. That's Reki Kawahara, like one of them that he did. And there's another one that was designed by like just like a bunch of people who are like, that's the guy who designed the characters in Final Fantasy 9, like stuff like that. So it's like all these characters with these very different designs. They look really cool. There's a guy who designed it. He's like the guy who designed the characters for Final Fantasy 12. You know?
Yeah, makes sense.
But good stuff. Great designs. Great game. Very different from the first game. I enjoy it. I don't think it hits me in like the feels just as much as the first.
Yeah, the first one got you.
the first one got me in tears, and like now as I think about it more, I'm like, I think this might be one of my favorite games like ever.
Fair enough.
But
I'm gonna have to check it out.
It is a worthy sequel, but a totally unique thing. It's definitely its own thing.
What was the? Sorry, I don't mean to keep cutting you off. What was the DS one?
The DS
is
one
that technically
is the remake of the first one.
Perfect.
It's just the first game.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Good. I'll get a 3DS from a pawn shop because I've been scratching the itch, or I've been having the itch to play Dream Drop Distance again. I don't know why.
I feel like that's an itch that will very easily be scratched.
Yeah.
After like two minutes of playing.
Yeah, probably. But I've just kind of been like, I want to do it. Because I played through 1, I played through 2 recently, and I played through 3 again. I need to get the DLC for 3 actually, but I've kind of been putting that off to stream that because I haven't touched that yet.
The DLC would be fun to stream.
Yeah.
But
anyway.
And then I did pick up Battle for the Grid.
Yeah.
I've been playing it.
This is where we're gonna segue.
This is where we
Star Bonjour,
we can segue. Yeah. Star Bonjour,
C'est Marvel, baby.
It's really good. It's real good, man. Thank you for fucking making me finally bite the bullet and play this game. Because
I've been pushing this game to like everyone I know. Honestly,
it is the best MVC clone I have ever played, and it's Power Rangers.
And the online is good. The netcode's good. That's probably one of the most important things, especially during quarantine. The online is
incredible.
It's really good.
It's cross-play. It's cross-console.
The only problem I've had with the online is that it'll sometimes drop matches.
Oh well.
But it's like. It's pretty rare. I had one night. It's in my YouTube archives where like it was just rampant bad though. where I totally bodied someone and it ended in a draw, and I was like, okay. Anyway, so yeah, there's like, of course, there's some issues with the game. It's busted, but that's why it's Marvel. It's busted.
Yeah, it's busted as hell. It's a party fighter that plays like a real.
Oh god, it's so good. It has simplified ass controls too. It's all directional inputs instead of like quarter circles or SRK motions or like half circles.
Yeah, it's super accessible.
It's really, if you want to get into fighting games, I would recommend starting here or the game that I'll talk about after. Because it kind of gets your finger rhythm down. Like, you'll be able to get timings for combos and stuff in other games better. You'll be able to learn animations better, because that's what it really breaks down to. Because if you're mashing, sometimes you'll mash too much, and, like, a move won't come out, or it'll come out too late because you were mashing too much, so it registered, like, too late. So, like, getting the rhythm of your inputs down it's really good for that. And then, like, moving up to more, I guess, technically advanced games, like Killer Instinct or, I want to say,
or King
like,
of
Street Fighter 5, like, things with inputs that aren't just directional. Marvel versus Capcom. Hell, like...
Yeah. MVC is really the best point of comparison. It plays honestly just like it.
It's a hyper fighter. It's 3-tag.
The three-man tag team fights.
The only
great diversity in how characters play.
Yeah, really good. There's like some characters for everyone. Honestly, like you have the big heavy grapplers. You've got the rushdown characters. You've got the air quotes Shoto characters. Like you will easily be able to make a team of 3 characters that you really like. I'm having a bit of trouble finding the third one that I really feel fits my team, because right now my main team, my 2 top main ones are Jen and RJ, because RJ is god tier. I need to go lab him later actually, but whatever.
If people don't know, Jen is from Power Rangers Time Force. She's the Pink Ranger. And RJ is the Violet Ranger from
Wild
Power
Force.
Rangers Jungle
Fury. Yeah.
He's like a kung fu fighter.
Yeah, he's a punch boy.
Style kung fu.
Punch boy.
Yeah.
Huge rushdown. He's got auto doubles on basically every button, which is really nice, and like really helps get like rhythm down. And the nice thing about fighting games too is once you learn to stop mashing, your fingers stop hurting as much.
Yeah, they certainly frickin' do. They like you just have to get yourself into a good rhythm.
And recently, I don't know. I guess I talked about it last time. Was RJ out, or was I about to look at RJ? I think RJ was out.
I think he was just.
Yeah, I think I played him like one night, because I think it was also Thursday that we recorded last time, and I streamed him on Wednesday when I got it. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is, the new update also, like, every update introduces more and more like shenanigan-y bullshit. Like this update, we got alpha counters now, which alpha counters is a thing that originated in Street Fighter Alpha, in which while you are blocking, if you in Street Fighter Alpha it was quarter circle forward plus button, whoa, holy shit, it's raining as fuck. Did you hear that?
Yeah, I did. Big anyway, thunderclap.
Yes, what I'm trying to say is, quarter circle forward plus button in Street Fighter Alpha would land you a counter hit on block. So once the hit spark of your block hits, you do a quarter circle and then attack, and you would knock the person out. It's really good for like getting out of corners or getting out of block strings. In the most recent update of Battle for the Grid, they added a counter thing, which basically works exactly the same way, except instead of you doing a move, it's the Zord that comes out and just bashes them to the other side of the screen. You can potentially get... no, you can't. Because I think, it automatically fills the juggle meter, so they'll wall bounce, but you can't get a combo out of it just yet. I feel like they might patch that because I feel like it'd be.
I
really
feel like that's
good.
coming.
But it also would feel like
It has to
bullshit.
be.
But there's a lot of shit that feels like bullshit. Anyway, it's like one of those weird decisions where I was like, I mean, I think it would be cool to be able to get a combo out of that. But it's very easy to do because in Battle for the Grid, it's also just while you're blocking and getting hit during a block string, you just push forward and then summon your Zord, and it takes. You've probably noticed, but the Zord now has a meter. You have 2 meters now, which is your Zord meter that has 3 bars, and your EX/super meter, which is at the bottom of the screen, also has 3 bars. It takes 1 bar of Zord meter to do a counter. It takes 2 bars to summon the Zord. And I think it's a nifty little thing that they've added. I've been trying to use it as much as possible. The only gripe I have with the counter is that you can't get a kill off of it. It will get you out of the corner if the person is blocking you, but it will not count as chip damage, and it will not kill. They will keep their magic pixels, so you'll have to like jab them once, which is, I guess, fair, but I really want to get counter kills because it just feels nice. But that's just me. That's a like personal thing. I would like to like have my Dragon Zord arm come in and just smash them across the screen and get that big KO and be like, yeah. But other than that, like, game's amazing. I've been pushing this so hard to everyone I know. It's getting a collector's edition.
Now that I started, I can't stop.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. It's super addictive and it's super fun. And the game I talked to you after about, which I will highly recommend that you go download because it's free, it's basically the same thing. I went in with very low expectations. Anyway, we'll get to that. But yeah, I've been pushing this to my friends real hard. And it's getting a collector's edition physical release in August, I think.
It's coming with an exclusive, beautiful Power Rangers figure of Lord Draken.
Oh, is it? I was wondering what it was going to be because I was looking online.
It's got a order, like a collector's edition exclusive Lightning Collection figure of the alternate color Lord Draken.
Yes. Okay, because I was looking at it, and like the announcement trailer is just you get the V2 skin for Tommy, which I already have on Steam. So I'm gonna have to get the PS4 edition, and then I'll bring it over to my friend's house, who I've recently been getting into fighting games. Like he started playing Marvel vs. Capcom 3 recently.
Oh well, there we go.
And I was like, oh yeah, it's
Those
starting.
Skills will translate.
It's starting. So yeah, I'm gonna get that for that.
When I play Battle for the Grid, I've been experimenting with all the characters because I'm playing through the small story mode that they have, which is fun. It's cute. It's like it's like it doesn't. They didn't have to even put one in, and it still would have been a good game.
Yeah.
So the fact that it's there is good. I like it, but
I mean, it's a fighting game story mode. Like, there's not
exactly.
Guys,
It's
not
like
them fighting herds.
Quality one. Yeah. It's like this isn't like Injustice 2 or anything. Like it's not.
Yeah, there's no
high quality storytelling with a fighting game built around
it's just kind of.
This is a fighting game that just so happens to have a campaign.
Do you know how closely it follows the Battle for the Grid comics?
It does not follow the comic at all. It's as somebody who has read the whole comic.
Yeah, there's nothing.
Not even similar. Just a few similar characters and some ideas, but otherwise completely different. But I've been playing mostly like the team that my usual 3-man team is Jason, because I like that he hits hard.
Yeah,
but he's pretty versatile. He's a good. I mean, literally Red Ranger from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Like it's like of course he is like one of the most variable and like flexible characters you could start playing as.
Yeah.
So I'm having fun with him. But then I play as Kat from Power Rangers SPD.
Yes, Kat
is a quick. She's fucking character.
She's Wolverine from MVC.
Yeah,
she's got Swiss cheese.
She is Wolverine from MVC. She has with all the flips and shit too. Yeah, for sure.
Berserker Barrage.
It's so fucking fun. And then I love playing as her. Kat is my favorite. And then I like to throw in either the Cenozoic Blue Ranger, who is the Blue Ranger from the Power Rangers 2017 movie, who is very fun to play. He's like a Rushdown character.
He's weird. I couldn't get. I didn't like him. I don't like the way he feels.
But I also like to play as the Magna Defender. He'll be my heavy.
The Magna Defender,
Because
who's
he is
that's
great.
a shotgun boy, right, with the horns.
Yeah, that's Mike. Yeah, with the
yeah.
horns, and he's got a shotgun/sword.
Yeah, he's pretty cool.
Frickin' love him. He's one of my favorite ever Power Rangers from the whole series. So, and I have a figure of him and everything. Like, I'm a huge fan. I have multiple figures of him. To be fair, Power Rangers Lost Galaxy is my favorite season of Power Rangers. So, he is like one of my favorite characters. But I love playing as him. That's like a power fantasy from me as a child. But yeah, it's real good. Like I'm enjoying myself so far.
I'm really glad you're enjoying it.
I'm enjoying learning all these characters and learning all these moves. I have yet to purchase RJ yet, but I have all the other DLC for the game.
Yeah, I mean, like I would
played all the other DLC characters.
At this point, I can't recommend just getting the season pass enough. It's
worth it.
It's so worth it. Especially
the skins are wonderful, and the alternate characters are great.
I'm super glad they give Kimberly Ranger Slayer her Kimberly outfit, because I always use that one. I like that one way better. It's just she was my favorite Ranger when I was watching Mighty Morphin.
Mm-hmm. She's her and Zack were always my two favorites. Kind of sad you can't really play as Zack in this.
It might come. I feel like they're kind of...
The problem is they already have the Mastodon sentries.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I mean, they guess they wouldn't really have to make a new model. They just have to remodel that.
Well, I mean, the thing with the Mastodon sentries is the moveset would be completely different from Zack's.
It would. But they would just have to keep the model.
Yeah. Because, I mean...
But I love Zack. Zack and Adam are like... I always liked the Black Ranger.
Well, I never remember her name, but I constantly refer to her as Big Yellow Bitch because I hate her assist. But the Yellow Ranger, the Yellow Ranger in the fucking...
In the dragon armor, yeah.
Oh, God, she's a fucking nightmare.
That black dragon armor is like basically the evil Dragon Zord from the comic.
Yeah.
They send it down into a little armor form. It's pretty cool. She plays really interesting.
I hate her. I hate her so much.
But she's a bitch to fight against.
They toned her down, too, since you started playing, because before it was way worse.
Okay,
it was a nightmare.
Bitch and a half to play against still.
Oh, God, yeah.
Oh, I love playing as the Shadow Ranger too, Kruger. He's really great. He's another one of my favorite characters from the series, and I love playing.
Who's that one?
I also have a figure of him. He's a wolf boy. He's got a katana. He's kind of like a samurai.
Oh yeah, Doggo Boy.
Yeah, he's Dog Man.
He's nice.
He's a dog face.
I like
good.
Virgil. Eric.
Yeah.
It's just
basically Virgil.
No, it's Virgil. It's straight up Virgil. Virgil's voice actor played him in the fucking show. And he came back for that.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
And his super, if you do Eric Myers' super, he goes, "I need more quantum power," which is the most Virgil thing they could probably let him say.
The Quantum Ranger is I love Time Force. It's a really good season with great characters too. And it literally has Wes, it has Jen, and it has Eric, who are like three of the best Power Rangers characters.
I want
and their actors, each of them are respectively really like almost too good for Power Rangers.
Yeah.
Like that's the season where the acting and the writing
was amazing.
is too good for
it was
the show.
amazing. I want I want Power Rangers Rescue Silver Ranger to come in at some point.
The one of the few original Western only Rangers. He's not from the original Sentai. Made him completely up whole cloth.
Yeah,
I love it. And his name is Ryan, catering to me.
Exactly.
He's a cool character.
He is. I loved him. He's
awesome.
I think that was the season that I liked the most, honestly, or at least that
Lightspeed Rescue is a good season.
I'm at least most nostalgic for.
Well, that's
Mighty Morphin
probably the one that was airing when you were young.
Like Mighty Morphin definitely has a place in my heart, but I feel like that was mostly the movie. Because I had the movie, and I wore out 3 VHSs of that movie. But that's it. I didn't, I only had the movie, right? I didn't really... I watched episodes here and there, but now that I know that they're all... Because someone in my chat while I was streaming, I think it was Kit, told me that all the seasons are on Netflix now.
They are, yes.
So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna sit down some days and just plow away at that.
Time. Do it. I swear
reminisce
you will not
the
regret
90s.
It is it is like a really fun show. I went back and rewatched the first season a couple years ago because the original Mighty Morphin's 3 seasons long.
Yeah.
But I watched the first season of Mighty Morphin. honestly, it's perfect cheese. I love it so much. I love the characters, and I have such an appreciation for this series, and I'm so happy it finally got a really great game.
Yeah,
like a great game.
It deserved it.
Yeah, it deserved it. And yeah, so this other mystery, amazing fighting game that you were thinking,
yes,
of regaling us with tales of.
So it's been out for a while, but it's only been getting a lot of headway now. It's from, I think, the director who did Street Fighter 2 HD Remix. I think. Someone in HD Remix is working on this game. I don't remember who. Don't take that with a grain of salt, but I'm pretty sure it was the director. It's called Fantasy Strike, and visually, it looks okay. Like, character styles are nice and stuff, but it looks uninspiring. Like, it's not gonna blow you away with the visuals. The visuals are not what's gonna make you pick this game up, right? But they recently adopted a free-to-play model where you just get the game, and there was some controversy at the beginning because what was it? If you wanted to play with friends, you had to buy the full game. So everyone was like, "Why would you do it like this? This doesn't make any fucking sense." And then they backtracked that and were like, yeah, no, finally you just get the game, you can play with friends. If you want different skins and stuff, if you want the single player content, then you have to buy the $22 game, which I think I might do.
Okay. I mean, that seems like a pretty good investment.
At this point, because I checked it out last night for the first time. It was the first time I touched, like, I even booted it up, right? I downloaded it earlier this week and I was like, I'm saving this for Wednesday, we'll figure it out. And then, yeah, so all the single player content is locked behind the 22, and then there's like skins and stuff, which will probably be worth it. Like, I've having played the game now, I'm like, yes, I'm sold, I'm good. The thing that I was iffy about was that there is a jump button, and it is not jump up with the stick. There's like a dedicated jump button, and I was like, I don't know about that. And there's also the fact that you can't block low or crouch or dash. So there are dash moves that make you dash, but you can't double tap forward to dash. And I was like, I don't know. I don't know about this. We'll see, though, but I am iffy about this game. I don't know how long I'll play. I ended up playing, like, I think an hour and a half, 2 hours maybe, of it.
Okay.
I went in. It is really good. It's very simple. It's even simpler than Power Rangers. The first time you boot it up, it takes you through a super easy tutorial where it's like, all right, pop all the balloons by moving, and you have to jump and then like pop the balloons, and it's like, all right, these enemies can be hit with this attack, and it teaches you about Yoni counters, which is the coolest, I think, throw tech that I've seen in years, because usually like throw teching in most games, like Street Fighter 2 invented throws, and then there was no way to tech out of them. It was just kind of a bullshit thing. To the point where some arcades ban throws, and you were like, I don't know, come on, it's in the game. It's part of the game, just deal with it. But whatever.
It's in the game.
It's in the game. EA Sports. Big. Back when EA was okay. Anyway.
Back when EA made good sports games.
But yeah, Yoni counters is cool because to tech a throw, all you have to do is nothing. Like, you're not moving, you're not blocking, you're not pressing any buttons, you're not touching the joystick. So if the person goes and tries to throw you and you're not touching a single thing, you automatically counter the throw instead of like doing the throw input, which is usually how you counter throws. And I thought that was cool as shit. And like, it just makes it so much hyper when you do get it, because you're like, Yoni counter, let's go, and like the big like Yoni counter comes up on screen. It's fucking sick.
That's pretty cool.
It's pretty cool.
I mean, that just makes it all the more.
Yeah, all the characters are super cool too. Like, the designs are pretty cool. Like, the art style is a little, I'd give it like low budget Overwatch vibes.
Okay.
But
I mean,
it makes up for it in like
nothing.
It makes up for it in like character creativity in the moves and stuff.
Okay. I mean, also just like Overwatch almost feels like low budget Overwatch, so it's it's not
well,
like
I
saying
mean,
too much.
no, that's it. It's just like some of the characters, like at a visual standpoint, you're kind of like,
It's
this
alright.
seems.
I mean, it can't look
like,
worse than Agents of Chaos.
Yeah, this is why I was like, this is why I was also like, at a
Agents of
visual
Mayhem,
glance,
that's what it was called.
paying for this game, you're gonna be like, I don't know about this. Like, I don't trust you, guy
But
who
it
is
is
telling.
worthwhile.
But no, it is worthwhile, and it's free to play on Switch, PS4, and Steam, and it's all crossplay.
That's an enticing offer on its own, and the fact that it's got crossplay too is like, I mean, I'm not going to say no to that.
And none of the characters are locked behind a paywall. The only thing that are locked behind, like, buying the full game is the single-player content, which I imagine is probably pretty good. There's probably some lore in there that's, like, kind of interesting. Some of the stages have lore in the background that had me go, like, eh. Like, there's a mansion with two of the characters' portraits in the background, and, like, there's big red X's on them. So I'm like, all right, I want to know why whoever hates these characters hates these characters.
That's pretty promising.
So, yeah.
Okay. I mean, I'm gonna give it a try, and I guess I'll see how it feels. But I'm interested. I mean, especially considering like just the fact that it costs nothing to just try it out. I don't know why I would be intimidated by that prospect, you know. So yeah, I think I'll give it a little look-see.
Do it. I would.
And
I did.
It's nice enough that it's like a free to play for.
I mean,
as
it's
long as
free
you
to
want
play.
to play
All
the
the
most
characters
base version
there.
of the game.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like you get casual matches, you get ranked matches online, which personally is all I really need out of a fighting game. But I do want to check out the lore. Like it would be cool to see how deep they got with everything. Because some fighting game lore, like as crazy as and dumb as it gets, is good. Like Street Fighter lore is pretty fun.
I love Street
It's
Fighter.
dumb.
Lore. It's stupid as
It's
fuck.
so
That's
dumb,
why I
but
love
it's
it.
fun.
I love like the KOF like and Final Fight kind of like. I love all
Rock
that shit.
Howard
I
is
love
the
it.
best, and he wouldn't be the best without the lore.
Exactly, and that's why Terry is so much cooler than like people give him credit
Yeah.
for. Because people are stupid and just want to call him a fucking Ryu ripoff, and I'm like,
You wish he was a Ryu.
You wish he's better
Yeah.
than Ryu. In so many ways, and he's like canonically has brain damage. Poor boy.
Poor boy.
That's why he can only speak like 3
Are you
words.
okay? Come on.
I love Terry so
love
much.
him.
I'm so happy he's in Smash. But yeah, so we've been playing a lot this week. Damn.
I have one more game that I touched a little bit earlier. Oh no, I got to talk about 2 more games. Sorry, forgot about one of them. Since we're still in fighting games, I will talk about Terrordrome.
Terrordrome?
Terror. Hold on, give me a second. I gotta. Terrordrome. Drone game. Okay, yeah, Terrordrome. So it is a horror character inspired fighting game. It is the second one, so it's Terrordrome 2.
Okay.
Something. There's like a subtitle, but I can't remember it right now. And my phone died, so I can't look it up.
This is kind of like.
I think I talked about it in a earlier podcast.
This is the one that you were talking about.
Well,
Terrordrome
Terrordrome 1
where it's...
is the one I was talking about. This one came out super recently. Unannounced.
But it's like this one is classic monsters, right?
Yeah, this one is going to be classic monsters and probably a couple more characters. Like right now it's in early access, and you have access to Frankenstein, not Slender Man, a lady called Ghost, who I didn't play, so I don't know what her deal is, and Alex Van Helsing.
Okay.
And
so the whole
Sasquatch.
Idea is
Sasquatch.
The whole idea is effectively mostly public domain characters.
Yeah, right now, because I think
the first one I remember was all slashers.
Yeah,
right?
because the first one I think it was free to download and it was just kind of a funny jaunt. But this one's on Steam,
it was like a fan
and
game.
is getting more like of an official like thing going.
Yeah,
so,
because we were talking about this a couple podcasts ago, and I was like, man, wouldn't it be cool if there was a fighting game with slashers? And you're like, there is.
Yeah. Well, boy, do I have news for you.
It's called Terrordrome.
Yeah.
Let's play this shit. Yeah, okay, so the second one, yeah, I believe when I looked into it, the vibe was like, this is what that one is to like 80s and 90s slasher flicks and stuff.
Yeah, this is going to be
to
public
like 1930s
domain.
and 40s classic like gothic horror
Yeah,
monsters.
and you've got Dracula, who is not there's I think 3 or 4 more characters. I couldn't really see them that well, but there's not Pennywise, no characters that are not unlocked yet. Because it's like early access, so you have the ones that are unlocked. Then there's not Pennywise, there's Dracula, and then there's 2 more, and then there's another 4 at the bottom, which I imagine will be like DLC once the game leaves early access, or maybe like I don't know. But it's pretty fun so far. Clearly a little janky, needs some work.
I was gonna say,
strange,
I imagine it doesn't feel too dissimilar from the first.
It is no, that's it. It's an early access fighting game. I wasn't expecting much. But I'm probably going to be streaming that with a friend sometime next week. I have all of next week off.
Sure.
So we might do an episode of that. The friend in question is the friend who has recently been getting into Marvel 3, so I'm trying to shove all the fighting games his way. And he loves horror movies, so it's cool. There's a bunch of cute little references, like...
that'll be perfect for me.
There's a bunch of cute little references, too. Like, the Van Helsing stage has a... it's called the Van Helsing Arcade, and the carpet is the Overlook Hotel carpet.
Oh, that's
yeah,
really cool.
I saw the stage and I was like, yes, all right. I'm excited for where this game's going.
All right.
So yeah,
that sounds pretty interesting.
And one more.
Final
jour. I'll have one more to talk about next week because I'm going to start it after I finish this one. But the final jour is Cloudpunk, which is a game that we talked about a year and some months ago, probably, when it was first announced.
Definitely about a year or so ago. I remember when they were talking about this at E3.
Yeah. And anyway, game launched, got it on launch. It was very fun, but it was only playable on keyboard, and it's a driving game. So
this is the driving game that's like a Blade Runner delivery service driver.
Yeah, you're basically a courier in this cyberpunk ass Blade Runner ass huge city that is somewhat falling apart. Like some districts are just exploding or falling into the ocean. And you see that happen on like some deliveries. Yeah, just like the real Los Angeles. But yeah, and you get like sketchy delivery calls sometimes where like your dispatch is like, just do the package, kid, and we'll talk about it later. And it's like, damn. I think the package is ticking. Do I deliver it or do I throw it down the chute so it lands in the ocean? I threw it down the chute because I was like, fuck this. But then I was like, unless it was going to a corporate thing, then maybe I should have. Anyway, we'll figure it out.
That's pretty relatable to the experience of a courier, I imagine.
But yeah, that's sure the other thing. As someone who worked as a courier, it was like, oh man, someone on this team definitely worked as a courier, because just some of the jokes was just like, yeah, it was just like, oh, you've lived this before, or you at least dated someone who lived this before and had to hear them come home and complain about it, because yeah, there's just too many nods that hit too close to home. Yeah. And it's cool because there's car customization. There's it's nice. It's fun. The flying feels really good, and they recently patched it quite a bit. Like on launch, it was a little rough. You were like super zoomed out all the time. Didn't have a third person over the shoulder thing, so you couldn't really benefit from the environment. You couldn't really even see what you're doing. You'd get caught on some geometry sometimes. It was a little annoying. It was a little jank at launch, but they've added a third-person mode and a first-person mode. I've been playing mostly in first-person mode. The driving remains in third-person because I think it would be too hard to drive if not. Or they might be working on a first-person. We'll see. They've been putting in good work though, and it is now way funner to play. That was my main thing. Was when I first started playing it at launch, was that like getting caught on geometry, not being able to see the pickups. Not really, because there's character customization too. You can change your jacket and sunglasses and stuff.
Because it is still
Yeah,
Cyberpunk.
but I was like, I can't really even see it, so what's the point? And like, you had this apartment customization thing where you can buy a bunch of shit for your apartment, but like, you can't really see it either. And I was like, this kind of, I wish I could like pretend this is my actual. Like, I want to just get immersed, put headphones on, listen to the like synth wave.
Take it a few degrees further until it becomes a full-on synth.
Yeah, and then like they did it. It's and like the first person, like it's God, what is it called? Bloxel, where it's like pixels and block. It's like it looks like pixel, but it's blocks. So it's Bloxel art. But it's
if you guys haven't seen what this game looks like, look it up. It's
it's really pretty. And the environments, I'm really glad they added the first person thing because there's like some detail on some like of the models, and like there's like cleaner robots that are roaming around the city that I didn't see until I started replaying like 2 days ago because the first person mode was added. There was so much tiny detail that was just going so unnoticed, and like I'm really glad they added the first person and you even can, like, third person. Yeah, like you can see it and love it. The driving feels great, like especially on a controller, because that was my other problem when it first launched was I had to play on keyboard, and so there's no like
playing a driving game on a keyboard.
Sucks.
You're
always pedal to the metal, and you have to kind of like it was rough.
There's no room for like subtlety.
No, exactly.
With like a driving game on a keyboard.
Exactly.
God, I remember I tried playing Outrun on a keyboard. It was fucking torture.
Jesus.
Holy shit.
I can't even imagine.
No,
Outrun on a controller really sucks.
Yeah, no, to be fair, yeah. So it's like, if you think that Outrun is kind of like
it's a hard driving game, but
punishing hard driving game on a fucking regular controller, try playing that shit on a keyboard.
Exactly.
It's like, forget it.
But yeah,
forget it.
They did good work. The story is cool. I'm about, I don't know, I want to say halfway, but I'm not sure. The world building's amazing. Like, you can, on deliveries, you can talk to random people that will maybe later become people that have things that, like, side quests.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really cool.
I appreciate that.
Nice.
That's the kind of stuff that I like.
Yeah, and I'll probably talk more about it after I beat it. Just so I don't give it too much praise before, like, if the ending shits itself, I'll be like, eh. But so far, so good. The story's good. It's very accurate to the courier life.
The courier.
Because you're poor as shit. And everyone knows that you're poor as shit.
Poor as shit.
You're poor as shit.
Like
yeah, you're poor as shit, and everyone you're doing deliveries for is like, what the fuck? What is?
Who are you? And they're completely ungrateful.
Yeah, it's great.
That sounds about real.
Yeah.
I guess there was like a couple of news stories, but honestly, like everybody knows what's going on. They saw those Xbox Directs, basically.
Oh, you mean the most disappointing shows?
Nintendo really cornered in on the Direct market, and it shows how many of these people just like are not prepared for these digital press conferences.
The Xbox ones are the worst. Like, at least Sony had games that people cared about. Real quick, if we're getting in the news, there's a fighting game roundtable tomorrow. So I'll have a bunch of shit to talk about next week.
And there's also the big thing that I want to mention, because if you haven't, I recommend you go do it now, is everybody's been talking about the Ubisoft article that Jason Schreier wrote. It's really quite something. The one that he wrote for Bloomberg.
Yeah.
It's just a massive expose on the abusive, toxic workplace.
I saw a breakdown video.
Horrible stuff, like horror stories.
Yeah.
These poor people just getting completely shit on it. Just like the boys club mentality of the people at Ubisoft, and Yves Guillemot being a fucking piece of shit, completely like feigning ignorance to this problem. Like, if he was not aware of all of these people, a lot of them are people who are in like his close friend circle that are being accused. If he was not aware that these people were were doing this shit and getting away with it, he's either a fucking dumbass, completely unperceptive dumbass, or a fucking liar. Either way, he's unfit to be the fucking president of Ubisoft.
100%.
Either way. But yeah, go read Jason Schreier's excellent Bloomberg article on Ubisoft, and just It can be a hard read at times, especially if you know people who have been through workplace abuse. But it's like echoes like the shit at Riot Games, echoes
God,
some of the
fucking
shit
Riot
that you were
Games.
hearing about Naughty Dog, like some of the shit at Rockstar too. Just like this really horrific, toxic workplace culture that is very pro crunch, pro treating people like
Pro
shit.
rise and grind.
Pro rise and grind mentality for these fucking people. It sucks, and that's not to say anything about the sexual harassment and sexual abuse and the predatory behavior that higher ups, are allowed to engage in against like the individual artists and small time like dev team leads and shit that are working in this company. Like Ubisoft, as with most large games companies, needs to just be completely dismantled from the bottom up and
Rebuilt.
like, put back together again. Because
especially since
like,
Ubisoft was trying to push the most woke narrative.
Yeah, they well, it's fun. They're simultaneously the games are not politics, bro. Like the most that.
Yeah.
But they are also simultaneously like the ones who want to seem to be making games that people talk about in like a scholarly, like critical context.
Where they're like, oh yeah, the guys at Ubisoft went to fucking Egypt to research all this shit so that the game was most historically accurate as possible.
Yeah,
like,
and that's like you fucking no.
But it's not political,
Ubisoft,
bro.
No, it's not. There's no politics, no games or politics in our games. We promise, bro. We swear, bro.
No politics.
It's true, bro.
It's just historical accuracy. It's a period piece, bro.
Exactly, but that's like really, it's disgusting.
Yeah.
Just some of the shit that you read in that article. So I highly recommend, if you haven't done it, go give that Bloomberg article by Jason Schreier a read. Jason Schreier, once again, just writing these great fucking exposés that completely like break down in these really, really great cohesive ways, like all the ways in which these like companies are abusing and mistreating their employees. And there's another article I want to hit people up to recommend. So when we were talking about Ghost of Tsushima last episode,
I was about to say,
Kazuma Hashimoto, Justice Kazi, on Twitter, who we were talking about and referenced some of his Twitter threads on the subject, wrote a full article for Polygon that kind of reads into the ways in which Ghost of Tsushima is kind of a very flaccid take on like that, how it touts its relationship to like Kurosawa and Chanbara samurai movies without actually like meaningfully engaging with the material of those movies. It's really, and also how they're just kind of like contributing furthermore to what we were
Japanese
discussing,
nationalism,
Japanese nationalist kind of agenda. But
maybe
really
involuntarily
kind of
but...
essay. Yeah, it might. I even Kazi himself, he says in his article, I don't think this is intentional, but I do think that it is misguided, and it's no less dangerous regardless of intent.
Exactly, and that's the thing too, as the lone hero defending your own nation from the invaders, even though like Japan got bodied in like half of those fights. Like
and Japan got bodied in World War II, and we remember them as like the nation that got bodied in World War II.
Ghost of Tsushima, doesn't it start off in a fight scene where your character would have died? Like your character would just be dead. This game is impossible. It's shenanigans. And that's why like I'm still interested to play it.
Of course.
It looks fun.
I don't think this, like any of the further context, makes it any less of like a well-designed or fun game, but it people should really interrogate the media that they consume, and that includes video games. And if people want video games to be treated as art, they have to be treated with the same critical hand you treat
That's
movies.
not dismissing the game and like being like, oh, this game's canceled, we're not gonna even acknowledge this. It's just kind of like be critical about the things that you're ingesting that are media, especially media that is very clearly nationalist on the surface level of
media that is being made about another country by people that are not from that country, and what narratives that they are using to inform their research
and enforce
versus
it. And I think we have Ubisoft to blame for that too.
Yeah, Ubisoft is quite guilty of doing that. I think as they're often like the country on the outside looking in and kind of picking up maybe some of the less favorable tendencies of these places that they set like a lot of their AC games in.
Yeah.
Or like playing to or against certain stereotypes like is just it's something that people need to be conscious of in the media that they consume. So yeah, go give Kazuma Hashimoto's article for Polygon and Ghost of Tsushima a read. It was really good. Polygon are like they're starting to kind of up the quality of the stuff that is contributed to their site now.
Yeah,
nice.
They seem to have gotten a lot of shit and fixed some things. I feel like someone in an editorial position maybe got fired or quit, and someone got replaced, and it was a good move. Kotaku remains Kotaku.
Kotaku UK is a very different entity from US Kotaku, so I recommend if you're going to read a Kotaku article, make sure it's from UK. Because they get some pretty good
Didn't Kotaku
people
UK have that Persona drama that we maybe touched on in one episode? Where, like...
What was that?
It was when Persona was added to Smash, and then the one person misheard a line as the R slur, and then... But Kotaku published Kotaku published the article even though the person was like, I want to wait to get confirmation from Nintendo, and then they were like, oh yeah, we got confirmation from Nintendo that it wasn't that, can we take the article down? And then Kotaku was like, no,
that's editorial shenanigans.
We can't, we're not removing any articles. And you're like,
I'm not going to say anything about the people like contributing to Kotaku because the work speaks for itself whether it's good or bad. But I think that Kotaku UK versus regular Kotaku has like much better individual like written content.
Oh, probably. I imagine.
Like
so.
I mean, one of the regular contributors is Laura Kate Dale, who I think is like one of the best people writing and talking about games right now.
Yeah.
So like she's a frequent contributor to them, and I think her stuff that she's written for them has been pretty good. But she, like once again, it's once you get some good stuff on there, it makes the bad stuff look worse, but it makes the good stuff look good too. But yeah, no, there's some interesting discussions going on in gaming right now. Mm-hmm. And you should be engaging directly in them.
Because, Laura Kate Dale was actually the person who wrote that article about the Persona thing.
Oh, well then, obviously she was smart enough to know it shouldn't have been published.
Yeah, no, but that's the thing, and Kotaku was trying to silence her. That's why I don't really like Kotaku, because like she was like, no, we gotta hold off on this article till Nintendo answers, and then they published it, and then she tweeted about how they published it, and then how they said that they weren't gonna delete it.
Those fuckers,
and then they made her delete those
around.
Tweets because she was getting like a bunch of hate.
Well, I mean, that's regular for her.
Yeah,
poor Laura.
Yeah. But I mean,
you're a trans woman, visibly trans woman on the internet. You're gonna get fucking
writes
vitriol.
Video game
articles. Who writes about video games?
And then
you might as well have drawn a giant target.
And then your publishing company publishes your article without proper source or
without the edit, without like.
And then we'll remove it once it's proven
looking
wrong.
For reasons to
anyway, yeah.
That's nuts. When she used to be like a leaker, her leaks were always accurate, but people would always shit on her anyway because they'd call her like transphobic slurs.
Yeah, well,
even though she leaked like a bunch of shit successful tons of times.
Yeah, well,
so
gamers suck.
There we go. Yeah, they truly do. But I guess that'll be it for now.
Yeah,
it was a good long episode. This is one of the longest episodes we've done recently.
I think so.
But
we're back weekly, baby.
Yeah, we're trying to get this shit out as weekly as possible. We'll be back with a new Touch Generation soon. Looking like the first episode of that's probably going to be Mega Man on the DS. So if you are a Mega fan, be ready for that. We'll be talking about...
wait. Oh, no, never mind. I was going to say...
The two different types of Mega Man games on the DS, which were Star Force, which are successors to Battle Network, and ZX, which are successors to Zero.
Yeah.
So... We'll be looking into that. If that interests you, be sure to tune in. If I can't get that one written on time, we might substitute it with another episode to start it off. But that's what I'm working on right now. I've started writing it. So
I have a bonus round
we'll be getting into there.
That I want to do soon about some things that popped off last month that we were supposed to talk about in the news. But I was like, we should just do a full bonus round on it because it's heavy.
Yeah, we should actually.
Yeah. So I'm
So
going to be
we'll hop
writing
on
a
that.
thing for that. But yeah.
But yeah, we're up here. We're active. Ben's streaming on Twitch.
Yes, I have a pretty solid schedule. Hopefully now, it's going to be Mondays.
Fighting games every Wednesday.
Fighting games every Wednesday, every single Wednesday. But it's going to be Mondays. Is going to be whatever. Probably Dead Space till I beat it. Wednesday is going to be fighting games. I think next week I'm going to try to look into some Soul Calibur if my bitrate and frame rate will allow it. Because I tried to stream it that one time and it was horrible. But I've managed some settings and now apparently my streams are silky smooth. So maybe Soul Calibur next week. If not, I might have my friend over Wednesday to do some Terradrome shenanigans. And Fridays after I get home. So Monday and Wednesday will usually start around 8:30. This week was an exception. Some things came up and it started like 10, I think. But usually it'll be around 8:30 that'll start. And Fridays it will be more around 9:30, 10ish, maybe even 10:30, just because I have my daughter till around 8. And then like I want to come home and eat and shower and just decompress from the day. So it'll be Monday.
Well, it'll be a long day for you.
It'll be Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays will be the most regular schedule. And for now, Monday and Fridays, I'm probably going to be focusing on Dead Space to try and clear that out. Then I'm thinking of moving on to something a little more retro, because Curse of the Blood Moon 2 came out.
Yeah.
And, I haven't
Bloodstained.
fully beaten Curse of the Blood Moon 1, so I think I'm going to just do a full playthrough of 1, move on to 2.
Which is a sequel to
Ritual of the Night. Rhythm of the Night. I want to also play Ritual of the Night, but it's a little more expensive than I'd like it to be right now. So I'm going to wait for it to go on sale.
It's quite pricey.
But yes, I do
Curse
plan.
of the Moon is great. I like the first one.
Oh, it's amazing.
I think that's like maybe the best retro style platformer that's been out for a while.
Par to Shovel Knight and Panzer Paladin.
That Shovel Knight and the Messenger.
Panzer Paladin actually is a very recent thing that I've been wanting to check out.
Oh yeah, that just came out. I'm gonna have to give that a look.
Yeah.
It looks like a lot of fun.
I think you'll like it. It's made in Montreal, and a brewing company in Montreal actually had a specific beer made with it. Partnered with Tribute Games, so when I stream that, I will have a couple of those to test out.
That sounds like fun. Actually, I'll go to my local craft place and see if
they should have it. It's ask for Pixel Brewery, and it'll be a Panzer Paladin IPA.
Well, I've had a couple of things from Pixel before.
Yeah, Pixel's not generally good. I don't really like them, but I had the Panzer IPA, and it's actually really good. It's their best one, honestly. I was super disappointed with their Sonic. Their Sonic milkshake, though.
I have the Sonic milkshake IPA. That was okay.
I was like, is not enough pineapple.
I like a good milkshake IPA.
Milkshake IPAs are good. I love them, but I like that one was just
my
too
favorite's
much.
the New Wave milkshake IPA. If you've ever.
Oh no, I have had it. It's pretty good, but I will gift you one actually. Next time we see each other in person. I'll keep one on the slide, but it is a pineapple and roasted coconut milkshake IPA, and it is probably
I can't
the best.
have the coconut.
Oh, you can't have the coconut. Damn.
Nah,
all right. Well,
allergy to coconut.
Fair enough.
Poop.
Well, then I will drink it myself.
Enjoy. That sounds really good.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. That sucks.
But yeah, so Ben's got the Twitch. I'm on Twitter. You can follow me at Nouveau Art Punk. We also have an Instagram for the podcast now, which. You can just go at GamePunx on Instagram, GamePunx on Facebook, GamePunx on Twitter, and
GamePunx on YouTube.
Of course, GamePunx podcast on YouTube. We are constantly trying to get more stuff out there, but yeah, we're gonna have a new episode of Touch Generation coming up. We'll have a new bonus round,
and we're gonna start looking seriously into an RSS feed.
Yeah, we promise. We swear we are.
It's only been a year and a half that we've been saying that, but now that we're super back on track,
I actually have kind of the cash to start paying for it. So
me too.
So now that I think I can maybe start dedicating.
Yeah,
that. But yeah,
I'll cancel my Netflix
then
subscription.
Hopefully we'll get on. Yeah, I mean, And I don't even have one of those, but I have enough expendable money, I think, to pay for an RSS. So we'll get that stuff sorted out. But at any rate, yeah, we'll have all of that stuff coming up for you soon. In the meantime, keep an eye out and follow us on all your social medias. And thank you very much for listening to our 25th episode. I can't believe we're 25 episodes in. That's pretty good.
25 years old today.
25 years old today. But thank you very much, and have yourselves a good week. Wear your fucking masks.
Do it.